The Great Depression was a brutal time. Businesses crumbled, jobs vanished, and hope dwindled like a leaky oil drum. But amidst the despair, a young man named Leon Hess refused to be a statistic. We're talking about Hess Corporation, a titan in the oil industry, and their unlikely survival during the Great Depression. With just one truck, with a single rusty truck and a whole lot of gumption, he laid the foundation for the Hess empire we know today. Today we're diving into a story that proves even the smallest spark can ignite a roaring fire. So let's dive in. The Great Depression, a period of economic hardship that lasted from roughly 1929 to the late 1930s, stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of economic prosperity. It was a time of immense suffering, marked by widespread unemployment, breadlines, and a pervasive sense of despair. While the stock market crash of 1929 is often seen as the trigger, the roots of the Depression lay deeper, and its effects rippled far beyond the borders of the United States. The 1920s, preceding the Great Depression, were a period of economic boom in the United States. Factories roared, new inventions like the automobile and radio fueled consumer spending, and the stock market soared to unprecedented heights. However, this prosperity was unevenly distributed. Wages for many workers stagnated, while speculation in the stock market became rampant. Margin buying, where investors purchased stocks with borrowed money, fueled a dangerous bubble. Many everyday people, caught up in a frenzy, invested heavily in the market, often with money they couldn't afford to lose. By the summer of 1929, cracks began to appear in the seemingly unshakable foundation of the economy. Investor confidence wavered, the stock prices began to decline. On October 24, 1929, known as Black Thursday, the market took a nosedive. Panic selling ensued, and over the next few days, billions of dollars in wealth vanished. The crash shattered investor confidence and sent shockwaves through the entire economy. The stock market crash was just the beginning. The crash has already triggered a domino effect. Banks heavily invested in the market found themselves in precarious positions as stock values plummeted. Depositors, fearing the worst, rushed to withdraw their money, leading to bank runs and widespread bank failures. Without access to credit, businesses couldn't get loans, factories shut down, and millions of Americans lost their jobs. Unemployment skyrocketed, reaching a staggering 25% by 1933. These mass layoffs and dire economic situation left families struggling to put food on the table. Breadlines became a grim symbol of the era. The Great Depression compounded the woes of American farmers, already struggling with a brutal drought. The Great Plains experienced a period of severe dust storms known as the Dust Bowl. Years of unsustainable farming practices had left the topsoil vulnerable, and with little rain, strong winds whipped up massive dust clouds that choked crops and turned entire landscapes into wastelands. Many farmers were forced to abandon their land, migrating westward in search of work, further straining already overburdened social services. The human cost of the Great Depression was immense. Millions of Americans found themselves unemployed, with no income to support their families. With factories shutting down and unemployment skyrocketing, people lost their means to buy food. Breadlines became a lifeline for many, offering a meager portion of bread, soup, or coffee. Standing in line for hours, often in harsh weather, was humiliating and demoralizing. Breadlines became a symbol of the desperation caused by the Depression. Those who lost their homes due to foreclosures or evictions were forced to find shelter wherever they could. Makeshift shanty towns sprang up in the fringes of cities, aptly named Hoovervilles, after President Herbert Hoover, who was widely criticized for his handling of the Depression. These communities were often cobbled together from scrap materials like wood, cardboard, and metal. They lacked basic sanitation and were breeding grounds for disease. Life in Hooverville was harsh and uncertain, a constant struggle for survival. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, elected in 1932, ushered in a new era of government intervention in the economy. His ambitious New Deal programs aimed to provide relief, recovery, and reform. Relief programs provided food and shelter to the needy, while recovery programs like the Works Progress Administration put millions of Americans back to work on infrastructure projects. Reform programs aimed to prevent future economic downturns by regulating Wall Street and strengthening the social safety net. The road to recovery from the Great Depression was slow and arduous. The New Deal programs undeniably alleviated suffering and helped rebuild the nation's infrastructure. But unemployment remained high for most of the decade. It wasn't until the mobilization of World War II that the American economy finally achieved full employment. Our story starts in 1923 in Woodbridge, New Jersey. A young man named Leon Hess, fresh out of college, decides to take a chance on the fledgling oil industry. He formed a small company called Hess Oil Products Corporation with a modest loan and a whole lot of ambition. Leon wasn't born with a silver spoon. He understood the value of hard work and built his business on that principle. He started by selling fuel oil directly to homes and businesses, delivering it himself in a second-hand Model T Ford truck. With limited resources, Hess had to get creative. They couldn't rely on bulk deliveries to businesses anymore. People simply didn't have that budget. So, Leon came up with a revolutionary idea, the driveway sale. And here's how it worked. Hess equipped their lone Model T with a portable gas pump. They then drove directly to people's homes, offering fuel at competitive prices. It was a direct-to-consumer approach, first in the industry. Think about it. During a time when people were desperate to save money, Hess was offering a convenient, affordable way to fill their tanks right at home. It was a stroke of genius. But it wasn't just about the low price. Leon Hess understood the importance of building relationships. He personally drove that Model T, interacting with customers face to face. He listened to their needs, provided friendly service, and built trust. Word quickly spread about Hess's reliable, friendly service. People appreciated the convenience and personal touch. Soon, the driveway sales were a success. Hess was able to rebuild their customer base, one satisfied homeowner at a time. As the business grew, Hess slowly reinvested their profits. They bought more trucks, hired additional staff, and expanded their service area. They even started opening their own filling stations, replacing the familiar red Model T with trucks emblazoned with the now iconic Hess logo. The Great Depression wasn't a walk in the park for the Hess Corporation, but it did forge their identity. From a single desperate gamble with a driveway sales strategy, they emerged stronger, leaner, and with a deep understanding of their customers' needs. As the economy slowly recovered in the late 1930s and 40s, Hess didn't rest on its laurels. They recognized the changing landscape of the energy sector and diversified their operations. It was a key strategy that helped Hess weather these storms. They didn't solely rely on gasoline sales. They invested in the exploration and production of crude oil, giving them greater control over their supply chain. With an eye towards the future, Leon Hess saw the potential in exploring and acquiring oil reserves. In 1936, he made a bold move, acquiring a stake in an oil exploration company in Venezuela. This decision proved to be a turning point. Venezuela at the time was a fledgling oil producer. While many saw it as a risky venture, Leon Hess was confident. He believed in the potential of the region and invested heavily in exploration efforts. His gamble paid off. Hess discovered significant oil reserves in Venezuela, solidifying their position as a major player in the industry. This newfound access to crude oil allowed them to refine their own fuel, further streamlining their operations and boosting their profit margins. Hess recognized the changing needs of consumers. They saw the rise of convenience stores and integrated them into their gas stations, offering a wider range of products and services. This diversification proved to be a wise move, helping them remain relevant in a dynamic market. Hess didn't stop at exploration and refining. They recognized the importance of brand recognition and customer loyalty. Throughout the 1950s and 60s, they focused on building a strong retail presence. Their gas stations evolved from simple pumps to convenience stores, offering a wider range of products and services. The iconic red and white color scheme became instantly recognizable, synonymous with quality and reliability. One interesting aspect of Hess's branding strategy was the continued use of their emblematic trucks. While the Model T was long gone, the Hess truck became a symbol of their commitment to direct service and customer satisfaction. The company even launched several successful marketing campaigns featuring their trucks, further solidifying their place in American pop culture. Hess trucks became more than just delivery vehicles, they were rolling ambassadors for the brand. Of course, Hess's journey wasn't without its bumps. The oil industry is notoriously volatile, subject to market fluctuations and geopolitical events. Hess faced challenges like the oil embargo of the 1970s and the price wars of the 1980s. However, by staying true to their core values of innovation, customer service, and diversification, they navigated these challenges successfully. They continued to explore for new oil reserves, invested in alternative energy sources, and adapted their retail offerings to meet evolving consumer needs. Today, Hess Corporation is a global energy company, a far cry from the one-truck operation of the 1930s. This story is a testament to the power of perseverance, creativity, and a deep understanding of customer needs. The Great Depression may have been a time of hardship, but it forced Hess to think outside the box. They turned crisis into opportunity, emerging stronger and laying the groundwork for their future success. So the next time you see a Hess gas station or a brightly colored Hess truck on the road, remember the story behind it. It's a story of grit, innovation, and a company that refused to be defined by a single desperate situation. They took a chance, built relationships, and ultimately beat the odds. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories on fascinating companies that defied the odds.